Good morning. Actually, I think it might be noon. According to the sun, it's noon. Good afternoon. Yeah. It's a hot one already. It is just a little afternoon here. You know, it's funny because this morning I could have sworn that said 90 something. The humidity was 90 something outside. Now it's saying 53 and the humidity in here is 73, which is, yeah, pretty outrageous. So still pretty cool in here. It's comfortable in here. This camper tends to do that for a while in the morning into the early afternoon because, I think, because of the roof. If it was cool overnight, which it was last night, it stays cool for a little while in here all morning long, early afternoon, and then it gets hot. Then it gets hot if it's hot outside. What do we got? 144 watts coming in. So we got some solar coming in, recharging the power station. This was at like 20 or 30% when I got up this morning, so it's doing all right. Keeping the fridge running, that's the main thing. And over here we got 13.5 in the LifePo 4. I actually went ahead and pulled some stuff out from under the couch and pulled this battery out for the first time since I installed it. Gave it a cleaning off because it got dirty under there. The cats are always up on the back of the couch climbing along here in and out of the catio. And that battery sits, you know, pretty much against the wall down here. So of course all their hair and litter and everything else is gonna go down in there. So yeah, I just gave it a cleaning off, and also somebody had told me to get a reading of the battery on the actual terminals itself, because you will notice a difference in what it's reading from your monitor, which this one is saying 13.16. Don't mind the fact that it says weak. This voltage reader does that. I don't know why. Pretty much 12.5 to 12.9 it says good. Anything like 12.4 and lower, I think it says weak, and then above 13 it says weak, but I think that's because it actually thinks this is a different type of battery altogether. Obviously we know that 13.1 is a good battery, but it just goes to show you that that person wasn't wrong. I mean, this is saying 13.6, but on the terminals itself it's reading 13.9, but on the terminals itself it's saying 13.1, which is usually what it is at the end of the day when the sun goes down and I'm no longer getting solar. But since we've got such high humidity in here, I think I'm actually going to run my dehumidifier for a little while, try to bring that humidity level in here down some. I finally got rid of my wood cradle that was over here in the corner. Had some logs in it still. There's just no way I'm going to be burning wood at this point until September. But also that space was way too cluttered, so we've got a good system now. We've got the dehumidifier here, plugged into the wall over there. I've got the tower fan just stored there. I'll probably actually bring that out and run that as well. I'm going to fire up the Jenny to run the dehumidifier maybe half hour to an hour, just bring the level down some. But most people say that dehumidifiers cool the air down. Mine actually seems to produce a lot of heat. For whatever reason. I don't know why. So we'll see how it goes, but I have a feeling when I start running that thing, it's going to get warmer in here. And before I do that, let me just show you my damp rid that has been in here for only 2-3 days. It's already collecting quite a bit of moisture. I don't know if you can see that or not, but yeah, I figure in a week and a half, this is probably going to be full or close to it, and I'll probably have to get rid of it and replace it. Smells nice in here though. Smells like fabric softener. And as usual, you know, we got a couple of sleepy roommates. Yep. Oh, you're awake. That's good. There we go. That's right, I was messing with the fuses earlier, and I had turned them off. Now this should work. Okay. So I have it set to 55. I usually like to see it in the 50s or 60s in here. Right now inside it's 23. I feel like this is definitely going to go up with the humidifier running. So far, it feels like cool air coming out of the side. So I don't know. I'm trying to remember from last year. I could have sworn this thing, you know, made the place hotter. I don't know. I'm gonna let that run for half hour to an hour and I'll check back in with you in a little bit. Looks like I'm gonna have to trim one of those branches just above that panel at some point. Yeah. Ah! I did it again! I did it again! Oh no, 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 no. That's what happens when you have ADD. Started filling my fresh tank and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go do something else, but don't forget you're filling your fresh tank. So I went off, started doing something else. I went in the trailer and I kept hearing this sound and I'm like, what is that noise? And then the light bulb came on. Right. You were filling your fresh tank and now it's overflowing and you're wasting water. Good thing I just filled that thing the other day. Okay, the air is starting to feel warmer now. It's saying the humidity level is 56, but there's definitely a discrepancy because we've got 69% in here. I'm sure there's probably a little lag with this, with the readings. We've got it below 70 at least. I just shut that down. Ran it for about a half hour. We've got it down to 63% humidity anyway. Better than whatever it was before, like 75. That is something that I'm doing lately to try to battle humidity. If I'm home, I try to run it half hour to an hour in the mornings, and then in the evenings I'll do the same thing before bed to bring the humidity level down in here. The last thing I want is any mold spores happening in here. I'm sure there might already be, I don't know, but I don't want any more. Got the tower fan running too. It's in oscillation mode. I'm just going to keep that running for the rest of the day. Still have plenty of solar coming in. Right now that fan is running at 37 watts and it's on the highest setting. Notice where the cats are sitting. We've got one here that the fan's hitting when it spins that way, and we've got one right there that the fan is hitting when it spins that way. Still, sorry about that glare, still not too bad temperature wise in here. Just under 25 degrees. 30 outside. And I'm gonna plug a second fan in right here. Because as you know, the inverter does still work on a super low power draw. See, we've got fan action. I'm just going to run that for now. Then I am going to get into investigating the whole inverter situation. I have made a discovery thanks to some of you, which I'll share in a moment here. You like the fan? You don't normally like things blowing at you like wind or anything, but you're trying to stay cool, huh? Alright. As you can see, nice sunny day, batteries are looking good. That little fan runs at about 30 watts, so right now on the inverter it's showing 60 to 70, which makes sense because, you know, the inverter's taking juice to run as well. But that's the thing with this. Right now it'll run small loads, but it no longer likes anything with a power surge. So as you can see as well, I do not have my trailer plugged into it any longer. I'm actually going to bring out my hairdryer and try it again just so you can see that with a full charge on the batteries, it still doesn't like large loads. Okay, I just pulled it right out of that box there so I can access it more easily. I unplugged it from the orange plug that was going inside. Fan's no longer running, so right now it has 0 load, you can see. I'm going to plug in this smaller 1600 watt hairdryer, smaller than my larger red one that's 1875 I believe, and we'll see what happens. Yep, there we go again. Okay. Sorry, it's really windy out here and I'm trying to stay in the shade because it's warm. That was really weird. It actually ran for a couple of minutes before that alarm went off. The fan in the front of the inverter I noticed wasn't turning. I don't know if that needs to or not. That was odd. So we'll try it again. We've got good voltage, 13.6. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to check the fans in the back first because those should start spinning. See about the one in the front. Yeah, it's running again. But the fan in the front I don't think is running. I don't know, does it normally? That one's not turning, see? I don't know. I never took notice before as to whether or not this fan spins or not. But I did just blow at it and it spun freely, so it's not fetched up. Let's try my larger hair dryer, 1875 watt. Alright, I mean, lots of solar coming in. Zero load, 14.2 I think it was. See what happens. I've got it on full heat. I'm going to put it on low first and then high. Whoops. No, I won't do it. Okay, doesn't like those big surges, I guess. Like I've said, I've used it multiple times before and it worked just fine. Also the microwave. I think it's time to plug the trailer back in and we'll see what happens when we start messing with the breakers. Okay, trailer cord plugged back in. All the breakers are off, so there's no load right now. A number of you suggested that I flip up the breakers one at a time to see where the problem was with regards to the 160, 170 watt load. I did that the other day after work and made a discovery. And a discovery I made just now as well is that, excuse me, my power converter does have a battery charger. I did not think that it did. And here it says, plain as day. The reason I didn't think that it did is because it never seemed to charge my batteries when the generator was running, so I just assumed it didn't. I've only been in this camper for 7 years, guys. I'm still learning. Okay, so we've got everything labeled here. Appliance circuit, microwave, that's literally just one outlet up there. General purpose branch, air conditioner, and main. So we don't need the air conditioner on. I'm not using that for anything. I noticed that flipping them up one by one, this one right here, general purpose branch, is the one that triggered the 160, 170 watts on the inverter. And this breaker is needed for all of my outlets in the trailer. I do not remember my inverter running at 160 to 170 watts before. Maybe it did and I just somehow missed that. I have no idea. I'm still very confused about the whole situation. For the purpose of this, I'm going to flip them up one at a time and let you see the results. So we're going to start with the appliance circuit. This is how I get my exercise. See, I'm going to be going in and out and I'll show you each time. Oh, inverter's about to fall. Still zero. So we'll go flip up the next breaker. Next breaker, microwave, 0. I'm going to flip up the main next because I believe this is obviously needed for the next one anyway. So we'll do this. Yeah. Heard my microwave flick on. 0. We'll do the air conditioner even though I don't use it. 0. There's only one left. All-purpose branch. This is the one that before when I tested it, it was reading the 160, 170 watts. And that is the one I need for all my outlets. So let's give that a flick up. And the lights dimmed, which apparently means that that battery charger flicked on, but but the battery charger doesn't charge my battery, so I don't know. And I already hear the fans running. And it's running right now at 100 watts. Let's see. Right now it's running at 100 watts. Okay. $110. Okay, it seems to be running between 90 and 110 watts right now. I have no idea why the other day it was running at 170 watts continuous. Or maybe it was because the batteries were lower. Don't understand electrical here. Okay, it's still running at 100 watts. 14 on the batteries because it's full sun. Okay, 2 questions for you. One, is it running at 100 watts now as opposed to 160, 170 like it was the other day because the batteries are topped up more? Is that why? Because of the battery chargers kicking on, just doesn't have to run as much juice in because the batteries are topped up? Like they're sitting right now because there's full sun in the solar, they're sitting at 14.
And what was my other question?
I guess my other question would be, how the heck can I disconnect that battery charger from the converter? There's a lot of wiring going on and... Spidey! Dead Spidey. Okay, get out of there. One thing's for certain, you can definitely hear this thing humming. See what I'm saying about wiring? Look at all this. I don't know what I'm looking at, and they're all the same color. They don't even color code these buggers. What the heck? There is one wire right here. See how corroded that is? Like, I mean, the coating is all green even. It's a bit thicker than the others in that. I also noticed somebody, whoever, like a previous owner must have messed with this too, because there's red tape under that breaker that seems to be my issue right now. I don't know what that's supposed to indicate, but yeah, I got a lot going on under here and I don't know what I'm looking at. It's kind of a mess. I do notice that there are 2 wires going to the breaker that, you know, has, I guess, has the built-in battery charger, and the rest only have 1 going to each breaker. So is it 1 that I need to disconnect to get rid of this battery charger BS, or what? Kind of smells like mouse pee down there, and I don't like that. Okay, I'm even more confused than when I started, so you know what that calls for. Watermelon and lime, so good. Thank you, by the way, for all the helpful comments on the last video. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I obviously am not when it comes to electrical. Yeah, I still don't know what I'm doing or how to remedy the issue. But right now, like somebody said, I think the bigger issue is that the inverter must just be ready to go. I don't know. It doesn't even handle a hairdryer on its own anymore. So I do have one more test I want to run with that inverter though. Somebody thought that maybe I had a bad cell in one of my batteries and that was the inverter's problem. So I think I'm going to disconnect the inverter from the batteries they're on now and connect it to a fully charged spare and try it out on that. Alright, I just checked and the inverter's still running at 100 watts. I'm just going to shut it off the lazy way. Still a little bit cooler in here than it is out there, but not a whole lot. Alright, I dug out a spare. 12.99. So, gonna hook the inverter up to just this one battery and we're gonna test it out. Okay, we've got her hooked up. This inverter has 2 positive cables, 2 negative cables. So I've got it hooked up here. Okay, 0 load. 13 on the battery, which is right, we just tested it. Sorry about the wind, wowzers. Plugged in my hair dryer here. Let's turn it on. No, doing the same thing. Assuming we're gonna get that OLP error. Dang! I see you, wind. I hear you, wind. I was thinking about going fishing, but
it's just a wee bit breezy.
Okay, well, it's not a bad cell in one of the batteries, so I guess at this point we can conclude that the inverter is on its way out. It does not like any of those large surges. It does not like a large power load all of a sudden. Apart from taking it apart, I don't really think there's much else that I can try at this point. I don't know if it's time, or if I did something to it somehow by having it plugged into my trailer, or having my trailer plugged into it rather. Yeah, it's not happy, but like I said, it does still run small loads, like it will run the fan no problem. I could take it apart, but I don't know what I'm looking at in there. It's just a bunch of wiring and diodes and fuses and things that I don't understand. I'm probably just going to leave it disconnected from my batteries outside for now. And I'm just going to solely, for now, run my fridge off of the power station. It was nice having that second option because I would run it off of the inverter during the day and then run it on the power station at night, and then I didn't have to run the generator as much to recharge the power station. But for now, that's fine. It is what it is until I get something else figured out, which I'm sure I will. And if you have any suggestions that won't confuse me too bad on how to disconnect that power converter battery charger thing that is possibly what's pulling that wattage with the breaker on, let me know down below, because I'm lost with that. That inverter was a gift for Christmas, maybe one year. Maybe my birthday, not sure. And I think it was about 6 years ago. So I guess it had a good run. I didn't get much use out of it. It spent most of its time up on a shelf, but
it is what it is, baby.
It is definitely warming up out there, although it is pretty windy at the moment. I am going to figure out what to do with the rest of my afternoon. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. I gotta set these in the sun over here because one of these are not coming on at night. Wow, the pollen probably doesn't help, eh? Okay, so I'm out here taking this plate off so I can look inside of this thing. And I guess I was wrong about when I got this inverter because it was only manufactured in 2019, so it's no more than 5 years old. And, yep, still don't know what I'm looking at. Wow. Alright. That is a whole lot of wires and fuses going on, and, I don't see any corrosion. Spiders, spider webs, nests, bugs. Nothing. Just a whole lot of confusion. Yep.